Welcome. This is Mr. Harmless, and I'd like to encourage you to try in this little learning experience. We're going to be talking about addition and subtraction. And in addition and subtraction, we're going to talk about, first of all, what they do, what happens when you add and subtract things. And then we're going to talk about when to use. So let's just very quickly talk about what they do, right? You know this already. I know that you do. If I had circle and a circle and a circle, right? This would be considered 3 circles. Now I know what you're thinking, Mr. Owens. I know this. I know that you do. But I also know that some of these skills are causing some of you some challenges. And so I want to help with this because we got to think about this. This could be anything. It doesn't have to be circles. It could be numbers. It could be 3 of something, right? If I've got then 4 circles, I say, well, I'm going to put all these circles together. Think about how many circles there are, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 of them. 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 circles plus 4 circles is 7. One of the times that you'll see this is if you have in an algebra equation, if you have 3x and you have 4x, right? Notice that what we're doing is the same thing as this. Instead of circles, we have x's. 3 x's plus 4 x's is how many x's? 7. Okay? Now, I know that you go, Mr. Armless, I already knew that. I want to challenge you, though, through the course of this learning experience to not use a calculator. Okay? Just try no calculator. Just give it a shot. In case you get to do some problems that you don't remember how to do, let's talk about, well, what happens, how do I actually add those together? And there's a lot of ways we can think about this, but I'm going to go with the most simplistic, direct approach. Let's say, for example, I said 28 plus 17, and you weren't going to use a calculator. Do you remember how to do this? 28 plus 17. And we add like this. So 8 plus 7, and if you're not for sure, without your calculator, add it up in your head. Count if you need to. 8 plus 7 is going to be 15. Put that 5 right there, but that 1 for the 15, where does it go? Do you remember? Yeah, right there. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus another one is 4. Okay. What if I said 372 plus 105? Well, 5 plus 2, 7. Nothing to carry over. 7 plus 0 is 7. Again, nothing to carry over. 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's what this would be. How about 7,905 plus 1,999? Well, 9 plus 5, 14. A 1 would carry. 9 plus 1 is 10. So I put the 0 for the 10 there. This 1 goes up here. 9 plus 9 is 18, plus another 1 is 19. Carry that 1. 7, 8, 9, 9,904. Let's talk about now how subtraction works. If you're subtracting things, and so let's go back to the circles. Say you've got some circles here, and you know how many there are. Let's say you go, okay, how many circles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 circles. Subtraction is taking away from a total. So if I said, well, I've got 9 circles and I want to take away 3 of them, right? Subtract 3 of them. That's going to get rid of 3 of these circles. 1, 2, 3. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. This is why that's the way it is. 9 minus 3 is 6. You're taking away. This is how subtraction works. Now, again, I understand. I know you're probably thinking, why are you telling this? This is why, right here. You've been given some problems like this. And let's say this is the segment. This segment, now this dot is a point. A is not a segment. A is the name of this dot. Let's name the dot on the other end, this point on the other end. Let's call it C. Now let's put a point somewhere here, not exactly in the center, but a little bit off to the side. We'll call it point B. We can now label some things. So this segment right here, this line right here that my pencil is pointing to, this would be called segment AB. You put a line over it when you're talking about it, segment AB. But if I wanted to tell you what it's equal, I would say AB without the little line above it, and I'd say AB equals, I'm going to go 2 units. Now this 2 could be 2 inches or centimeters, we don't know, and it doesn't matter. It's 2 units long, one of them, 2 of them. Length for segments, how long something is what we talk about when we talk about the measurement of a segment. Let's say I also said that BC is 6. And the question was, what is AC? This is why we're doing this, because a few of you have struggled with a question like this. Sometimes it's not listed, sometimes it's shown right on the diagram. AB is 2, BC is 6, and the question says, what is AC? Well, this is why you have to understand addition. Addition just puts things together. Well, if there's 2 units of length here, and there's 6 units of length here, the whole length of this would be 2 plus 6. You'd need to know that what you need to do with these numbers is add them together. And so in your imagination, in your mind, you're going, oh, this means, right? You're thinking about it. This means I'm going to take the 2 and I'm going to add to it the 6. And so you go, 2 plus 6 is 8. What about this one? This one had a few of you stumped at the beginning of the year. Let's say I told you this segment was called DF. And let me put an E about right here. Let's say I told you that EF was 10. And then let's say there was a measurement of over the top, or I could have named it, I said segment DF, the whole segment was 22. And the question says, what is DE? A lot of you would go, I don't know what DE is. But understanding what subtraction is what we do. I don't need to add. I don't need to say, well, 10 plus 11, 10 plus 12, no, 10 plus 13, no. I don't have to just keep adding until I get to 22. What you can do with a problem like this, if you understand subtraction, you think to yourself and you go, I know the whole amount is 22. I want to take away this 10 right here. I want to get rid of it to see what's left. Subtraction does that. 22 minus that 10 will tell me what's right here. I don't have to add to find it. I can just subtract. 22 minus 10, 12. This happens with angles as well. I know angles have stumped a lot of you. Angles have nothing to do with how long something is. Angles have something to do with how far opened this is, like a mouth, right? So if I had another line right here and I said, right, now I'm not going to change the length of the line, but I could close it. I could open it up wider. Okay, I could open it all the way up over to here. This is how we measure how far open this is. We measure this using degrees. So let's say, for example, I had a line. Let me go with a line like this. And then I had another line, and it was going like this. And then let's put another extra line, a third line, and let's have it going like this. Now to name these lines, I could put points on them. Let's call this point Q. Let's call this point right here point R. We'll call this point right here T. And we'll call this point down here S. Now we could talk about how far opened up this first mouth is, and I could say, well, let's say this one is opened up 15 degrees. That's how far it's opened up. Say it started off closed, we lifted this up to here, and I opened it up 15 degrees. That's not how long these sides are. That's how far open this is. I could then say, well, let's say how far opened up is it from this RT over to here where the Q is at. I could say this one is opened up, and if you tell, you can kind of tell it's probably about twice as big, and it is. 15 degrees and 30 degrees. Now, if I had a question that said, this. Measurement of angle QRS equals. Let's say this was a question. Well, there's two things you need to understand in order to do a question like this. The first thing that you need to understand is what is QRS? I'm going to trace from Q to R to S. Q, R, S. Notice that I trace this. So if it says what is this little M here, measure, the measurement of angle, that's what these things mean. In fact, let me go ahead and write that right above it. This M, when you see an M like that in front of an angle sign, you go measure of, and when you see this little symbol right there, I've already said it a couple of times, angle. So the measure of angle QRS is talking about what is the measurement, what are the degrees, how far opened up is it from here all the way over to here. So we're not measuring how far away it is, we're talking about how much this angle has opened up. Well, fortunately, we actually have, well, we knew it was 15 degrees to get this far, and we knew it was 30 degrees to get this far. So understanding subtraction tells me, well, if I want to know what this whole angle is, I would just add those two together. 30 plus 15 is 45. So that means the angle QRS, this big yellow angle, is opened up 45 degrees. Let's change it a little bit. Let's say I've got an angle that looks like this. Not a very straight line, but there we go. And let's say I've got an angle going like this. Again, not a very straight line. All right, but pretend. Let's give it some names here. Let's call this U. This point we'll call V. This point up here we'll call W. And let's call a point on this X. And let's say that I told you that this opened up from here to here, from here over to here, or the other way, right? This little mouth has been opened up. Let's say it's only been opened up 12 degrees. Let's say I don't know what this one is. But let's say I did know that the measurement of angle UVW is equal to 92 degrees. Now UVW would be the angle that starts over here on this side, UVW. So one that goes from here all the way over, ignoring that line, to here. And it's saying what is the measurement of that angle, and it's telling me that this is 92 degrees. Now if I know that it's opened up 90 degrees all the way across, and I'm also told that this 12 right here is how far it is, just this part. And if the question then states what is the measurement of angle UVX, where this green one is at, I should know that a way to find that would be to subtract. Subtraction again is taking a whole amount, in this case 92 degrees, and getting rid of a part of it, in this case 12, to see what's left. So to find this answer right here, I would simply take 92 minus 12. 92 minus 12. Now if you've forgotten how to subtract without a calculator, 2 minus 2 is 0. 9 minus 1 is 8. UVX is 80 degrees. Subtraction is important. One other issue with subtraction that I've noticed many of you have very much struggled with has been triangles. If you've got a triangle has three angles. There's an angle over here, and it's saying how far is this opened up right here. That's an angle. Let's call this point A, so I can call that angle A. B, okay. And let's say C is this one right here. Notice there are three angles. This is opened up a certain amount. This one is opened up a certain amount. And right here is opened up a certain amount. Now if I told you that this one was opened up 60 degrees, and let's say I told you that this one up here was opened up 59 degrees. And the question was, what is this angle? Well, knowing a sum total, if I knew what all of these were, remember subtraction takes a whole amount and it gets rid of a part, and you get what's left, or what remains. So if I took the whole amount, in this case with a triangle, it is always 180 degrees. And I had a part of it, in this case it's these two added together, 60 plus 59. Now I'm not using a calculator either, so let's add that together. 60 plus 59, well, 9 plus 0, 9, 5 plus 6 is 11. So I take these two, that's the part that I have, so I'm going to get rid of from the total, the whole amount, the part that I know, in this case 119. If I subtract these, what I'm going to get is what's remaining. In this case, what's remaining is this part. Now let's do that without a calculator again. 180 minus 119. What do we get? Notice I can't subtract right here. 0 minus 9. I can't do that. But what I can do, I'm going to borrow something from this 8. I'm just going to borrow 1. Make it a 7. That extra comes over here, makes this 10. 10 minus 9 I can now do. 10 minus 9 is 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0. So what's left is 61. And if you think about it, that is right. If I were to take 60 and 59 and 61 and add all three of these together, I would get 180. One more thing before I'm done with this particular video. I'm not going to work the next few questions out, but I do want to introduce one more part of this, where understanding addition is important. Okay? Understanding addition is important. Here's what you need to understand. Let me give you another segment. We'll do it with a segment here. Let's call this segment J. Let's put a K here. And the other end of this segment, L, so segment J, L. Let's say I told you that the entire segment JL has a length of 5 times some number I don't know plus 2. Let's say I also told you that this segment right here, just the JK part, had a length of 27. And then let's say I told you that the length of KL, this portion right here, is 3x minus 1. Again, understanding addition, what it is, tells me something. I know that this total amount is these two partial amounts added together. So I should be able to add these two partials together, in this case, the 27 and the 3x minus 1. I should be able to add them together, and I know what they're going to equal. They're going to equal the whole segment. What is the whole segment? 5x plus 2. Now, we're not going to solve this, but no, this is how addition makes sense in a problem that has geometry. This happens with angles all the time. There's a couple of examples we could give. One of them would be an example like this. This is a straight line with two angles above it. Now I know this straight line, that angle that a straight line makes is 180 degrees. So if I told you that this side over here was 6x and this side over here was 12x plus 8, and I said solve for x, again, you would know partials make the whole. I know that these two angles together equal 180. That means I can take this 12x plus 8, and I can take this 6x, the two partial amounts, add them together, and they will equal the total amount. On the next few pages, you're going to have some IXL assignments. These, you only need to get to a score of 50. You don't need to make it all the way. It's just going to give you some practice on some basic addition and subtraction problems. You're then going to have a formative assessment in Desmos. This formative assessment you have to complete. But it will tell you if you're getting a question incorrect or if you're getting it correct, and allow you to make changes while you go. Once you're done with this, you'll move on to the next module.